Hi, John Marshall, DrillMaster. I was asked for, let me get that glare off. There we go. I was asked for some feedback a little while ago, actually shortly after the King's Parade. Uh, uh, King Charles celebrated his birthday, so there is a traditional pass in review, a trooping of the color. Quite, quite a spectacle. They they do such a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic. However, there's some interesting things that I'd like to point out. So,
On parade. For the second year running, all 5 regiments of the Foot Guards are represented here on parade. Number 9 Company Irish Guards, with their distinctive plumes of St Patrick's blue, are providing number 1 Guard, known as the Escort, and they are led by Captain of the Escort, Major Brookie Trant. Number 2 Guard is provided by Nijmegen Company Grenadier Guards. F Company Scots Guards make up number 3 Guard. Number 4 and 5 Guards are comprised of 1st Battalion Welsh Guards, easily spotted by the green and white plumes.
now I'm letting that play so you get the introductions there. I just want to point out something for those of you who are thinking that, oh, they're so out of alignment. That's quite possible, but never go by the toes. Never go by the toes. You always dress by the heels or shoulders, even. Heels are going to be the easiest identifier for you. And you can see that as far as shoulders are concerned, there's a pretty decent line there. Now, most likely the same here. But as far as toes go, everybody has different sized feet. So that's not a good indicator.
Presenting a leak. And at the far end, number 7 Company Coldstream Guards provide number 6 Guard. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by a special guest, someone who served with the Irish Guards for more than 30 years and indeed was their commanding officer, Major General Sir Christopher Geeker. Good morning.
Good morning, Claire. Great to be with you.
And you are uniquely positioned to give an insight into the regiment and indeed the events of today.
Interesting commands, and I'll get more into the commands here in just a moment. But so this is the presentation of the colors for what we would call the color company.
Regimental Sergeant Major Peter Swain now prepares to take possession of the colour. Protecting it with his sword. And ready to hand it over safely.
Carrying the sword constantly with the elbow at a 90 degrees.
And he will now hand it to the ensign.
Very strange for
Lieutenant Harry Winterbottom, who will troop the colour through the ranks.
You can see slightly different arm technique there. Did that look familiar for the casing sequence, Marine Barracks, Washington?
Watching on from the Major General's office, Prince Louis, Princess Charlotte, Prince George and Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales.
For me, they know that this is a job that I really love doing. I think they'll also appreciate the irony that growing up would always avoid the limelight, and here I am on perhaps the
So here's where you see alignment issues. You can see there's waves. And for such an extremely long line,
biggest military parade of the year.
the difficulty is definitely
Well,
there.
he's very much in the limelight today, even if he didn't want to be as a child.
And doing incredibly well. What a special moment for Harry Winterbolt. Obviously, troops the colour in front of his fellow guardsmen. An honour given to very few young officers. Commissioned in April 2023, he follows his uncle, Major Giles Bassett, to the Irish Guards. And on Monday, I talked to his father at the presentation in colours at Windsor. And I know how proud his parents, Mark and Caroline, his brothers Sam and Jamie, will be, all watching him from the stands this morning.
Now, he's very conscious of everything the colour represents, and indeed its history. The colours were last carried into battle in 1881, but nearly 150 years later, still hugely significant.
The gentleman on the horse we'll hear from momentarily. Look at the finial there, the crown.
Traditions continued ever since, and the colour has developed into the hugely
And the
respected
colour,
symbol it is today. It's also an enduring link to the King, who's our Colonel-in-Chief, who presents our colours personally as he did
It
on
looks
Monday
so
at Windsor
thick
Castle.
and rich with the
The sun is now breaking through the clouds onto this magnificent scene.
with
You can see medals there
the
glinting
fringe
in
there
the
as well.
sunlight.
It's
And
almost a,
really
you know, if you had
enjoying
a,
it. And
I
what
imagine that it would be
fascinates
like a rug almost. It's so
Don't break that.
thick and heavy. So their slow time marching technique, you can see there's a slight pause, a hang step is what we call it. But you'll also see a variation of technique eventually here. This is going to be a, I'm going to try and not have this be such a long video. Also the halt technique as well. Oh, there we go. So let me turn your volume up so you can hear it. I want you to hear the command that the parade commander gives. Gentleman on the horse. So, escort to the color will advance. You can hear how nice and clear and crisp that command is. I really think that the Commonwealth commands are very verbose and unnecessarily so, but it's most likely due to tradition. So, my personal preference really doesn't have anything to do with it. I just wanted to let that go. So instead of left face, it's left turn. So change arms. And you could hear just with the change, the A there, you could hear a kind of so I call it gravel in the voice. In the professional voice-over world, voice training world, it's called distortion. So you could hear that kind of a warble in the throat. So most likely now that I'm not sure if the gentleman on the horse gave that. It sounded like a different voice, but that the voice break, that was so I'm going to cut everybody calling commands slack. Definitely going to do that, because the practices that went on for this were for weeks at a time. The training that they did lasted all day. Commands were constantly called, and the same people were calling the same commands every single day, multiple times a day, out as loud as they could get it, and the distortion in their commands is most likely due, even with the crack there, most likely due to being tired, and not only tired physically, but the throat being tired. So it's understandable.
The command given by the field officer for the officers to take post, and the colour will move to the rear of the escort.
I'm looking at my notes over here, my timing notes. Now that command, so he's not mic'd, and so he's got to really project there. However, he's calling from right here. He's that type of command, and that's the unhealthy version of command calling. So when I was asked to give a critique of this to a colleague of mine, I my wife was in the kitchen. I walked out, went in our closet, and closed the door so dogs didn't interrupt me, and so I didn't scare the dogs. They kind of got a little nervous, but I called each one of these commands while I was in the closet there, and I haven't called commands in a couple of weeks. So I haven't warmed up my voice, nothing. So I tried to mimic each one of these commands, and didn't damage, didn't hurt my voice box at all. But I do want to point out that that's not necessary. I'm not going to say it's wrong. That's not necessarily the best way to call the command. And so we are at 50. There we go. Go back just a bit.
For the officers to take post,
And I'll let his whole command play.
and the colour will move to the rear of the escort. The corps of drums now perform The Girl I Left Behind Me.
Love the chime. That's really nice. So you can hear. This is what I wanted to show you. Now watch. As each one of the individuals halt, watch their technique and look at the timing of the technique. Most are stopping in cadence. Others have him. There. This gentleman right here. Right there. His stop technique was a left-right, and most everybody else is left-right, keeping in cadence in the timing of the music there. It's a very, very different. Some are just slamming those heels into the marching surface, and I mean just slamming, which really seems extraordinarily unnecessary. And I get why that the stomping of the heel, the raising of the foot, it was because of a large pack on the back. This is, we're going back hundreds of years here. And so in order to stifle the momentum for a right face, what they call a right turn or a left turn, or even to halt, to stifle that momentum going forward, the knee was raised so that the thigh was parallel with the ground, and then the foot was stomped. That helped create that solid movement. Um, it's still used out of tradition. I'm not a huge fan of it because of the inaccuracies. You can see as each one halts that the 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 the, the left foot is brought up, then the right foot is brought in place, but then the left foot on many of them slides over to the right because the right foot was the last the last set down, stomped down even. And so in order to bring the heels together, there's many different. So you can hear just a little bit of gravel in there, just a little bit. Like I said, his voice is probably
Number 6 gun, close order, march! Move to the right in 3, 40, right! Guards will march past in slow and quick time. By the left, slow march.
So here's another.
Now that the colour has been trooped through the ranks, the guards are forming up for the march past, and all 6 guards
Stepping off extremely smartly in slow time.
Here's another technique that I want you to see. So their slow time, as we were looking at it before, and I mentioned that there's a bit of a hang step in there. Well, not everybody executes the same technique. There's a wide variation of technique in the hang step. There's a wide variation of technique in the halt. I just wanted you to see this.
Chief of Defence Staff Admiral Sir Tony Radakin
And there's another.
amongst the VIPs, and I can see
Oh, nice.
the Defence Secretary as well, Grant Shapps.
Sitting on the king's right, too. That's impressive.
This is a huge operation to organise. What is the role
Stop
of the
talking
field
there,
officer?
lady. I need you to talk over me. All right. So you can see the mark time. Knees aren't lifted to a similar height. And if you notice also, I always stress that we start, we stand at attention like this. When we start marching, we need to transition both feet into pointing straight ahead. Excuse my straps there. Injured finger. So we transition to that first step, we transition to the second step. The feet need to point straight forward. That's the healthy body alignment that everybody needs. It's also better for uniformity of technique. We don't march like this. We're not ducks. All right. However, the Commonwealth marching technique is not only to stand like this, but to march like that as well. It's an archaic thought process of giving the soldier a better foothold or something. It doesn't really make sense. The intelligentsia of long ago thought, well, this is the best technique, and they've kept it out of tradition. However, it really does tend to screw up the ankles, the knees, the hips, even going up the lower back. There's a whole chain in our bodies It can even get into the upper back, the neck. It's not the best marching technique at all. So you can see as they're marking time, that foot stays out, which, you know, that's the technique they're going to use. But you can see now, he will come up closer in a video, but what he's doing here is, for his slow time, he's bringing his a lead foot comes in front. He will bring it out and slightly in, and then place it, and then bring the next foot out slightly in, and then place it. His technique, it looks really good, but it's different from almost everybody else. Interesting. Salute technique there. Oh, there's the king. So you can watch.
And this, the Irish Guards slow march, letter and remember. And the ensign lowers and raises the colour, the flourish and the recover, as they're known.
So did you notice how the color bearer brought the staff back in? So for those of you who, you know, when we go to case and uncase the colors, Air Force technique like this, we bring the color down and then we pull the staff in, or Army technique to come out like this, lower and then pull it in. Pulling the staff in is fine. Don't let don't let old guys like me tell you that it's not. I know this old guy is telling you it's okay, but there's precedent behind it. Also, the reason to pull the staff in is because the stupid thing weighs so much, and keeping your arm out. This is Army and Air Force. We have to keep the arm out. It's part of the guidon manual that we use. Part of it for the Flagstaff manual, and keeping that arm straight out with that eventually heavy flag at the end just really isn't
As easy as it looks.
Absolutely not. And that's incredibly hard work carrying the colour. Harry Winterbottom will have trained hard to avoid cramp at that moment.
There we go. Yeah, it was difficult to carry the color.
And next to march past the King, 9 Company Grenadier Guards.
So
And the Colonel of the Grenadier Guards.
who was the American general sitting next to? So you can see here, similar technique for everybody.
And they are led by Major Jamie Drummond Murray, a 5th generation Scots Guard officer.
Except there's a few out there who were actually throwing that foot out there. Others are just using the time.
Who had served in the role for 50 years.
They're keeping the tempo all of the throughout that foot swing, instead of bringing the foot forward and then stopping, and forward and then setting it down. I shouldn't say stopping.
And their colonel, the Prince of Wales, looks on. And he succeeded his father on becoming Prince of Wales.
He did, a very proud moment for him, in a custom that the Prince of Wales is Colonel of the Welsh Guards going back to 1919.
All right, so according to my notes, that's all I had. Still, you know, I'm sure we could pick apart any kind of ceremony.
And number 6 Guard completes the march past in slow time, comprised of number 7 Company Coldstream Guards, and they are marching to their regimental.
Oh, let me see if I can find this. So I'm gonna pause. I want you to watch the rotation of the band. So it's a massed band in the middle, and they the whole block rotates. And it's never been written down, the procedures to rotate. So hold on just a moment. Well, I looked, but I couldn't find the big rotation that they did. However, I did find this.
And the eyes front there. Perfectly achieved without a word of command.
Perfectly achieved. So this was before I even started the video. This is
The escort steps off to the rousing march of the British Grenadiers.
the color company, and here's a rotation of the band. But there, if I'm not mistaken, there was another, and it was also variation of technique in the head turn there, or the body turn. You know, some are snapping to, others not, definitely not. But this is the color company, our British version of the color company, coming forward to receive the colors.
Now the escort march forward and they will halt 16 paces from the colour party, ready for the collection of the colour.
Open order. Right. Set. Left hands. Guns on points. For attack. And time.
The mass bands turn about to face the colour party and the senior director of music takes up a new position close to the front.
So this is almost where we, oh well, I'll just let it play. Almost where we began almost 30 minutes ago. I apologize. But it's so very interesting. And the troops did a fantastic job. Really, really quite good. Well, thanks everyone for watching.
Regiment